To where the panel is sitting. The listing of Kenya's first green bond is currently happening at the Nairobi Securities Exchange, and Victor Kiprop is on that particular bit. Victor, what exactly does this mean for the country?
Well, very good morning, Zainab. It is really indeed good to be back. And of course, from the drought that was experienced around here last year to the fires in Australia and to the floods in Indonesia, climate change is becoming a really important issue in the world today. And of course, more importance is being attached to projects that are environmentally friendly. And for Kenya, the country is opening a new chapter today after the listing of the country's first green bond at the Nairobi Securities Exchange. The bond was first issued in October last year, and it has been listed on the stock exchange this morning. And to help us delve into that discussion, I have the Nairobi Securities Exchange CEO, Jeff Odundo, is joining us. Jeff, a very good morning to you. Please, very important day for the country. Take us through it.
Thank you very much. Today has been a very important day for Kenya and the capital markets because we have actually listed the first green bond in Kenya. Now, green bonds are extremely unique in that they target particular sectors, especially sectors relating to opportunities around environmental issues, social issues, and governance issues. So we have been able in the region to issue the first bond that's actually targeting a very key area around the social area to do with student housing. And the issuance that was done by Econ Holdings Limited today, where they raised about a committed line of 4.3 billion, and now they've been able to list 786 million of those notes onto the market, is a major milestone for us.
Okay, and of course, as you mentioned, 4.3 billion shillings is the amount that has been raised, but you said 786 million is what has been listed. Take us through the process, the phasing process of course, listing the remaining amount.
So there's going to be, it's a tranche program. As you know, it's a program that is listed, and they'll be doing this based on their lines and their needs on an ongoing basis. But that's a more of an assured line that they have. They've raised that money, so it's just about how do they draw it down. And the fact that we're listing the 4.3 billion program is going to be easy for them to continuously bring more and more notes onto the market. Now, this is a major milestone for us because, as you're aware, the Kenyan bond market has really matured. We've actually moved from the traditional bonds where basically it's an asset that you've raised money and you're basically giving a commitment to investors to refund that money over a period of time, previously from a guaranteed bond to an unsecured bond and now to a green bond. So we in East Africa, we are the first exchange to do this, and really speaks about how innovative the capital markets in Kenya are. And so we're very happy about that.
All right, and there was also a mention about how it is also going to be listed on the London Stock Exchange, right?
Yes, so there's going to be another listing happening in London, hopefully in a week's time. And wholly this is to also give international investors a flavor of this bond trading on the London Stock Exchange. And we believe that's going to help the market, going to help the company raise more money in the future, because these bonds actually do attract a huge amount of social impact investors. So listing on London is a very positive development. We as the NSE collaborate very well with London. Today's launch was actually officiated by the Right Honourable the Minister in charge of the State Department of International Development, and that just speaks about the continuous collaboration that we have with international markets. London is a leading market globally, and we partner with them on a lot of programs, and the listing of this is going to be another major development also in this particular area.
Yeah, but of course, being the first one in Kenya, would you say that we're likely to see more coming in the coming days in the market?
I think the very fact that they did raise over 80% of what they wanted speaks volumes about the depth of this market. Our bond market today has total outstanding debt in excess of 1.5 trillion shillings. Speaks about the amount of opportunity that we have. We have the capital. We have a very mature pension sector that also is in excess of 1.5 trillion shillings that can actually be targeted and become the avenue for raising money. So I think the maturity and depth of this market is an assurance to investors and other issuers that our markets can be very attractive. Looking on the other side, the demand side, I think there's a lot of opportunity for green financing. People are looking for money to tap into those resources. If you think about our energy, look at the geothermal potential we have. Look at the hydro opportunity we have. All the other energy projects on wind, solar, around there, impact on housing, the ECON are coming up with affordable student housing. We also have a low housing project under the Big Four. Now, all these, health sector, the agriculture sector, all these are opportunities that we can unlock using green financing. So the potential is huge.
Yeah, but of course, as I mentioned earlier, it's becoming a very, very, very important factor given the events happening around the world today. But bringing in the stock exchange today with this first green bond, how do you rate the importance of this, the stock exchange coming into this fight or struggle and against climate change in Kenya's fight against climate change, rather?
So what ECON has done is really aligned to what the NSE aspires to do. We are members of the United Nations Sustainable Stock Exchanges Initiative, and under that umbrella, we are coming up with programs to really promote sustainable financing, green financing, and all these other opportunities. So it's very, very aligned. If you think about the as I said earlier, the opportunity for unlocking green financing, what other funding can be attractive to this particular? You need long, patient money to invest, and that patient money is actually available in the capital markets. So these are investors who are not looking for a very aggressive return, and they also want to play a role to promote sustainable and governance and climate objectives. And so that can only be done through the capital markets. So we feel that we provide an alternative funding avenue, or rather the funding avenue for investors.
All right. And of course, you and I will agree that 2019 was a really, really tough year for the capital markets in the country, looking at the counters, different counters and stocks, their performance. We were doing an analysis at the close of the end of last year. How would you say 2020 will look like for the market?
I think 2019 was challenging, I must say. We saw 9 months of extremely low trading. We saw a very strong recovery in the last quarter of the year. Despite all that, you saw that we still outperformed other exchanges in Africa, which again speaks to our very resilient nature. So the whole continent did go through very challenging times. And I also say 2019 for us was more putting in place, as all these challenges were facing us, we were also investing heavily towards strengthening our foundation. So we did set up a new system. We now have a totally new trading platform, which has got very high capabilities to do things. We did launch an Ibuka program, which is basically targeting SME companies, trying to create and to incubate them, to bring them to the market. We launched a derivatives market, okay, and that again is supposed to really help provide a risk mechanism, a speculative trading mechanism. We also carried out a number of things around our product developments and promotions, including regulations to support the green bond. So all this is in place. So I think what we're saying in 2020 is about uptake, it's about selling that message, it's about financial education, it's about getting everybody in the market. And so we're very, very optimistic that 2020 will be a very good turnaround year for us.
Right, Jeff, and 2019 was equally challenging again for the country's economy from the drought that we experienced initially. Projections for this year have been put at around 6%. The interest rate cap has been removed. We're seeing some bit of rains, but I don't know what are your estimates or projections for the economy in 2020.
I must say that if you look at the macro factors facing our economy, they are more around inflation, issues around the stability of our currency, interest rates, etc. I think we have got a fairly stable environment that provides better predictability for investors to invest in. Look at the momentum we're having, especially towards hospitality. Look at the hotels opening up here, infrastructure development. I think there's a buzz in the city, for instance, about what's going on around the country. So I think those factors are providing investors a bit more incentive to come and invest in Kenya. So I'm taking a fairly positive view about the economy this year. I think we expect to see positivity, and with that, we expect to see the capital markets play a role towards providing or playing a role towards providing that funding for various projects. We'd like to see more and more companies come to the market. I think there's a real need for companies to list on the exchange. Investors have got the money, but they need the products. So I think with all that, I think we'll play our role towards the economic growth in this 2020.
You've carefully avoided a number.
It's a bit a bit early to give my own analysis, but I'm sure with time we should be sharing our view on it.
All right. Geoffrey Adunda is the CEO of the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Always a pleasure catching up with you, Jeff. And of course, we hope the economy goes as you predict. Zainab, that has been Geoffrey Adunda, the CEO of the Nairobi Stock Exchange, of course, giving us his highlights about his projections about the growth of the economy in 2020. And of course, the very important announcement of this morning, that is the listing of Kenya's first green bond at the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Just to give you a brief highlight, it was issued by Hecon Holdings in October 2019. It raised 4.3 billion shillings and 786 million shillings has been listed this morning, Zainab.